Hello there. In this video, I want to talk about the Botanica Solo farm I and many other DKs did for the classic craft launch between level 70 and 80. First, I would like to go over the talents and why I chose the talents I did, why I didn't do the normal blood build, and what to think about throughout that run. I'll have footage of level 71 as I did pre-quests to 71. But that doesn't really differ much from level 70, and then there'll be like some pulls at 73, which is the big power spike level, or one of the big ones, and then there's one at some pull at 76, which is by the end of this Botanica runs. First off, let's go into talents. Alright, so let's go through the talents real quick. Let's start with Unholy. Anticipation for more dodge chance. Second row, Epidemic is pretty nice. Morbidity is super important because we're trying to use Death and Decay as often as possible, and then Raven is dead. Since we're not using Scourge Strike in this build, Vicious Strikes and Outbreak is not really good talents, neither Desecration, because we wouldn't really want to use Plague Strike for that. Third row, Corpse Explosion, very important ability. You might see it in the footage later. I think this is one of the best tools Unholy has, especially when you can set it up. Pale Horse, because there are a few stuns, like the Dragonhawks can charge stun you, and there are some satyrs that kidney shot you. Army of the Dead is just needed for Master Ghouls. This row here, we take Impurity and Dirge for more runic power and gain. On this row here, I took Magic Suppression, because there are some pretty dangerous spells in there, especially in the satyr room, and also because prior to the release, I had not seen any good uptime on my Desolation ability. I would rather press Blood Boil basically than Blood Strike in these runs, so I opted to skip Desolation. Next row, Crypt Fever and Bone Shield. You could skip Bone Shield for something if you really want to, but I really like it because casting Bone Shield before a scary pack would let you take 20% less damage while you're getting your diseases rolling, because Bone Shield cannot lose charges faster than 1 per 3 seconds, so it would go away pretty quickly. It's like a half duration Icebound Fortitude or something like that, but it still helps on the pulls. And then Ebon Plaguebringer. Ebon Plaguebringer obviously is very important because it makes all our dots do more damage, our diseases do more damage from Crypt Fever before, and Death and Decay does more damage. And then for the next 3 levels, 70 to 73, I went with Wandering Plague. And then I went the rest of the points in Rage of Riven there, leading up to level, leading up to level 76, which is when I left Botanica. You could, if you really want to be safer, instead of Wandering Plague, you could take Improved Rune Tap the first 3 levels. This will make the build safer, but I never took this. It wasn't really that necessary. As you got higher level, you weren't really in danger. So onto the glyphs. Disease is the only one you must have, and then I opted for Glyph of Icy Touch, obviously because it was both at launch, but it's a little bit safer. Glyph of Death and Decay is stronger than Icy Touch, but you need to be casting Death and Decay very often. So the safe option is Disease and Icy Touch, and then you use Death and Decay instead of Icy Touch if you're confident in not dying. Minor glyphs, it's pretty easy. Like Raise Dead and Pestilence, as any Unholy build, is always staple. Corpse Explosion, always nice. Can press the corpses from further away and hit. And that's about it for talent. So let's go. Alright, so here's the footage part of what I wanted to show. And this is a run at 71, because this is like the second run I do, I think, of the evening. I believe based on the timer. I lost my Brewfest both previous run. To doing something bad. So on the start of the run, I do armor potion, and then I pull the first 5 mobs, and I focus down protectors because the robot isn't all that dangerous, but I just want to reduce the damage I take a lot, and then I'm leading it into the next pull. And if you're looking here, we are now going to use Corpse Explosion, and it does a massive amount of damage, like 15,000 for 1 global and 40 runic power. This is by targeting it on the ghoul, because it does damage based on the ghoul's maximum health. And we're just gonna keep chaining into it. So far there's not really anything special here. In these packs, the only thing important is you want to kill the green keepers generally first, because they have a Earth Shock ability and then another cast that is pretty dangerous. But if you're healthy, you can go for the Mender, otherwise you just have to interrupt the Mender. But generally, throughout the runs, I would focus down the green keepers, and I use Corpse Explosion as much as I can for my runic power. I have every ability bound to Rune Strike almost for more prior damage. The thing is, you don't want to really kill everything like in an even fashion, like many would think. You just have to burst something down and just do damage to everything else. But I just keep chaining, and oh, one thing about the trinkets. I had the Madness trinket, and then the Darkmoon card Madness, that is, and the second trinket is Shatari Skyguard Silver Cross, which is like 30 crit rating, and 50% chance that whenever you kill something that yields experience or honor, you get 140 attack power. And those two trinket choices I'm very happy with, because they ended up having like 80% uptime throughout the run. So here we come up to the first mobs that stun me. The Dragonhawks, as I talked about before. Pale Horse helps a little bit there. Pale Horse was mostly for like pre-quest handing in and such. You could probably do without the talent if you want to take something else. But as usual, we're just gonna keep chaining mobs as much as we dare. And obviously mobs being low, Vendetta is gonna come in clutch and heal us throughout the run a lot of times. Here we get to one of the more dangerous mobs of the run. It is the Stewards, Bloodwater Steward. They have to die pretty quickly before they do the spin, preferably. The spin does mostly magic damage, so you can anti-magic shell it. You can ghoul stun it, you can grip to cancel it, but it's better if they die before they spin. That's just a safer option. Here, with the boss here, the boss will walk to a pack that is pulled, that isn't pulled, so... And she walks to the entire pack. It doesn't matter how far you kite, she'll just keep walking to the pack. It's really annoying. So if you pull the pack before she's decided which pack she goes to, she will not go to it if it's already engaged in combat. But if she's already started walking towards like the first pack here, and you pull it, she's just gonna keep walking with you all the way and then turn around after you've... she doesn't really turn around. She walks all the way up to their corpses and then turns around. That's why I had to just pull a solo pack there. Usually I try to do this in 2 pulls all the time. Generally speaking, I do the first 2, and then this third pack I would chain into the Botanica, or, well, the botanists over here, I mean. So here I got the double spin. I AMS one, and I grip the other one to interrupt it. Other than that, not so dangerous. I keep exploding my ghoul whenever I can, whenever the cooldown is ready to summon it again. And I keep chaining mobs over and over. So far, that's fine. For some reason, I killed the Steward last. I think that was just bad target selection. Corpse Explosion is doing its work here. Want to interrupt heals here. These mobs are actually pretty dangerous, because the Flame Shock, the Poison, and also the Dragon Fire Belch, I think it was called, a Dragon Fire Potion, makes them spit fire. But once you had AMS, you almost took no damage during the time AMS was up. But as we can see, I use a lot of Death and Decays. I'm a little bit scared on health, but Death Pact's coming up. Using Death Pact on cooldown is probably one of the biggest survivability increases you can use almost. It's such a powerful tool, especially since your ghoul doesn't really go away. Yeah, it's just chain pulling over and over as much as I can. The big damage spikes comes at 73 and at 75 when doing Botanica. At 73 you get a new rank of Death and Decay, and also you have maxed Wandering Plague if you go that instead of Improved Rune Tap, which helps a lot in damage, like with killing down packs faster. And at 75 you get, I think there was a new rank of Corpse Explosion and Empower Rune Weapon, which obviously resets our runes, so we can get 2 more, or potentially 3 more Death Strikes in an emergency, which also helps a tremendous amount. On these plants here that I kill, for some reason, if you Pestilenced first, they would turn Shadow Immune, but if you put down Death and Decay, they wouldn't turn Shadow Immune. For that only lasts a little bit, but that was something I discovered later on, so I could basically kill them by death and decaying without spreading diseases and just death striking the Astromancer, I think it's the one with them. But that made that pack a lot nicer to do, and they also almost give you full health due to Vendetta. So here I Pestilenced first, and they're all like shadow immune, and basically don't take any damage from my dots. It's okay, because I mean they will turn into like frost immunity or something later on, and will just die during the next pull. This is probably the scariest room of the entire run. So at first I never pulled really big here, but I ended up pulling big later on. I'm using this ledge as a pretty big failsafe. These channelers, the Sunseeker channelers, they have a debuff that makes them do magic damage in AoE. And I mean AMS is kinda crucial for that. Whenever that aura is up, you can see it's up on that mob there. I would always focus down those, and then I think I'll use the ledge here and Death and Decay and just jump down and up and down the ledge to try and avoid damage. I guess that's later on maybe, when I figure that out for pulling bigger to be safer. But other than, once you've killed the channelers, there isn't really that much that's scary. There is a curse in it. These are also the mobs that does kidney shot, but if you don't pull too big, it's not dangerous. There, I got the curse there. There is a curse that the Satyrs also cast, which reduces your stamina by 35%, I believe it was. And that is pretty scary, because on Death Knight, health is king, and the more health we have, the safer we are basically with big death strikes. I tried to use armor pot, but I've been chaining so much, so I don't have armor pots going here. But I have like every other cooldown ready, so I'm not afraid of these packs here. I'm very close to death in this particular one though. Not great, but I just eat the ghoul and then death packed by ghoul and I'm fine. But that was I think this was where I realized early on in the run that I could just jump up and down that ledge. I don't know if I do it in this run, but I'll show it later, I think. Where I just use the ledge to practically just not take a lot of damage. I just spread diseases and then Death and Decay, and I jump up and down so that they run around. They get only a few hits in at me at a time. And that's crucial for, well, not dying. So at the start I was doing this, which isn't great. In these packs here, where I pull the Sunseeker Gene Splicer, that is the most important mob to kill. They will not cast Poly on their main target, the other mobs, and your ghoul is immune to Polymorph, so they will not cast Polymorph if you have aggro and everything. But the Gene Splicer will cast Death and Decay, which I believe did percentage of your health in damage. So I would use that for... I would focus down the Gene Splicers. Because the other mobs have Entangling Roots, which they cast on you. But that didn't really matter all too much. If the Gene Splicer was dead, everything else just didn't really do any damage. Them spawning, whenever they spawned the extra mob, that was really nice of them, because that's just extra Vendetta healing. This was one of the scarier packs. I used to always have, in the beginning I always made sure I have one cooldown ready for this, either Icebound or Death Pact, because they are pretty tanky and they do pretty okay damage. So I needed one cooldown to make sure I didn't die. Sometimes I didn't need it, sometimes I did, but here I didn't need to use anything. And coming up here is one of the best items actually that I discovered. That I had prepared it, but I didn't know how impactful the item would be. But on the on my action bar, there's like some frozen bombs. I forgot what they're called. But essentially, I would just pull all these flowers and try and spread diseases and death and decay. And then I would use Frost Grenade here, and I would use Frost Grenade because it wouldn't break on my disease damage and death and decay damage, so I'd just be able to pull everything and dot them, and then Vendetta would full heal me once the flowers died from death and decay and from diseases. And that's the run at 70, basically. I don't think there's much else to add. I was doing like 1.2 million XP an hour or so. Next up is at level 73, and I am doing the last pull here. I believe this is at 73. Which is just another one showing exactly how powerful the Frost Grenade was by whittling down all the mobs equally here instead of trying to focus one down. And I would just pull both packs. I did this like almost every single run. In the end, I didn't really need a Frost Grenade, but here, there's a Frost Grenade, and I put the Death and Decay, and then my health is just shooting up. And I'm spamming Death Cores, because every plant that dies gives me 20 runic power. And they're suddenly full health. That's why, like, the Frost Grenade's really good, and you could abuse it to quite a lot of stuff. Also was very good as a tool for the demon part. Like, anytime you needed to kite because runes weren't ready. So here's a pull at 73 from in the beginning, where I kill... That's right after the first pull, essentially. And then I just do like one smaller pull while I wait for to line up cooldowns again, essentially. And then I do another big pull here. And I was gonna say on Frost Grenade, you could use that anytime you need to regen runes to get back health, basically. It was like a 5-second AoE route. Very super useful item. Might actually be used in Wrath as well. Here, I just pull everything and AoE it down. This is when I have level 3 Wandering Plague. So my damage, and level 73, so my damage is quite a bit higher than at 70. And yeah, it's just like pulling big, knowing what you want to focus down, and there's so many times in this one leveling where I shot death coils into enemies. And here is 76, I believe, at the very end. These are just added in because they show how much more powerful you got with levels. Yeah, Empower Rune Weapon is on my bars. It's on cooldown, however, but like mobs just melted once you got to 75. You also got a new rank of Horn of the Winter there, but these aren't really essential. These are just it just shows how much faster you could go. I think I had it down to 11 minutes at level 75 or 76 per run, killing everything. Same thing here, always focus the Gene Splices. The rest of the mobs didn't really do any damage. As long as you kill Gene Splices. I think I'm being hit in the back here because I stand really badly, but... No Death and Decay means that the damage intake was very low, and obviously Vendetta and Corpse Explosion and everything else is... Mostly Vendetta is surprisingly good for this. Gonna do another one of these big pulls with the horrors. And they're going to die very quickly at this level. Even here I don't actually have a cooldown already other than a potion. I didn't use a potion before the pull, but... No cooldown ready, but they are dying so fast that I never really was in danger from them. As you can see, some Corpse Explosion damage they're critting. And then it's just into the last pull. I don't think I used Frost Grenade at this level either anymore, because I think my damage was just high enough that mobs, the flowers in the end, would die. I think that is it though. I think that covers everything from Botanica. Thanks for watching. I'm playing a DK main now for Wrath, so I'll always be open for questions on my Twitch, but that's about it. We'll see what other fun stuff I figure out with DK solos. Yeah, I didn't use a frost credit here, I just spread diseases and press blood boils. This is what I did all the way until 76, and I did 76 and 20%. And after that, I went to quest in Sholazar, Storm Peaks, and Ice Crown, and this netted me a 14 hour and 44 minutes to level 70. 80, I mean, sorry. That is all. Thanks for watching.